Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another webinar in our webinar series with our friends from MDHHS. Once again, we have Grace Rudolph with us today, as well as Laura Fisher from the Intertribal Council of Michigan, and we're going to be talking about traditional tobacco. And so, if people are coming on a little bit late today, no worries. Come on in. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're from, maybe something you are hoping to learn from today's presentation. Otherwise, I will be just kind of behind the scenes checking out the chat. I will also be checking out the Q&A system. So if you do have a question, Laura said it is no problem. We can kind of stop her as she's going and ask questions based on, what's up on the slide or just relevant to the content that she is explaining. So use the Q&A for questions. We will use the chat just again to share ideas and to share comments. And we will be sending out a recording of this video from this webinar, as well as a copy of the slide deck. So we will email those out. Those will be in some future MASSP publications. Plus, they also live on the webinars section of the MASSP.com website. This is just a disclaimer we have on all of our webinars, just because a lot of people will access these recordings and this information at a later date and time. Just know by doing so, some of the information you are seeing, hearing, reading about might be out of date. So make sure you are always checking out those resources, making sure you are getting the most accurate information, whether it's a day after, a month after, or even a year after. Just be mindful of that. So otherwise, Laura, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can take over, and we'll sit back and show is yours.
As I stay muted. Can you guys see my screen? All right, thanks. Bonjour, everybody. My name is Laura Fisher, and I'm the Director of Health Education and Chronic Disease at Intertribal Council of Michigan. Quick bio of myself. I have over 20 years experience working on the integration of our traditional practices into our healthcare delivery systems within tribal communities. And talking about our sacred tobacco is actually one of my main passions. So miigwech for having me today. I just wanted to start off with talking about who we are in the state of Michigan and a lot of the tribal populations. So we're actually pretty unique, as we are all Anishinaabe nations. So all of the 12 federally recognized tribes in the state of Michigan are Anishinaabe. So you will see a lot of different titles. You'll see Odawa at the end, Chippewa at the end, Potawatomi, but we all come from the same nation. So we're Anishinaabe Nation. And that means that we have a little bit of different dialects within our languages, but we're all related and similar. So we come from the Three Fires Confederacy. And that's just a really cool history that we have in the state of Michigan. So when you're getting to talk to people and tribal membership from the state of Michigan, we have a lot of similarities throughout the state. In other states, they have a lot of different tribal populations that are completely opposite with languages, dialects, cultures, traditions. But we have a lot of similarities and are all related here in our state. And this is just a really cool map showing our migration of Anishinaabe through time. Started out up in the New York area, headed down, followed the lakes, and ended up in the Great Lakes region. So as you can see, starting out with our really cool migration map, storytelling is one of the main components of who we are as Anishinaabe. That's what we had to share our stories, to share our legends, share lessons learned as time went on. So we were taught through oral traditions, and our stories were used to teach us many different lessons. And through time, so it's almost winter time up here. We actually have snow on the ground here. I don't know if anybody else has that, but we do have it here up in Sault Ste. Marie. And Winnabuju is how I was taught to say it, but you'll see many different things when it comes to it. So Nanabuju, Winnabuju, Menabuju, Nanabush. Those are, it's a really important storyteller, and it's like a trickster in our storytelling. And he's used in a lot of different things. He's a cultural hero. He's partial spirit, partial human. and he went around and did a lot of things. So if you look through many different stories, you'll find he was integral in naming the plants, naming the animals, naming a lot of different things, and really having that communication across species, across plants, animals, and us pitiful like human beings. And he's used in many different ways, but in this that we're talking about, he's really integral in, so spirits have everything. In Anishinaabe, we're very circular, and everything is related and interconnected. And our spiritual realm is just as important as the realm in which we're living in right now. And we need that connection in our lives. And we were really struggling, us pitiful Anishinaabe people, trying to survive, because we weren't gifted with all the things like the animals to take care of themselves. And we had to learn a lot of things by watching them survive. So we needed a little extra help. And so Creator put Winnebuja there and created the plant Asema. And that was one thing. So spirits have access to everything. And one of the things that they don't have access to is Asema, because it was gifted to us by Creator so that we could use that to ask for help. So that's like one of the main teachings when it comes to the sacredness of tobacco. It's like vital, like right down to our core vital of who we are as Anishinaabe people. So I'm going to give you a couple different variations of the story. And these are just ones that I learned. I just want to put that disclaimer out there, because you're going to go to many different communities and you're going to hear many different interpretations of legends and Adazukan, which is our storytelling and our stories. But this is the way I was taught. And so that's what I'm sharing with you today. So Creator always provides for us. Gagego, a long time ago in Anishinaabe, we were struggling, like I said, and then the spirits were gifted this. So up here in northern Michigan, our growing season's not as long as what it would be down in southern Michigan or in the south. So there was given our origin story of Kinnickinnick is what was given to us. And there's a lot of different teachings when it comes to us. So Kinnickinnick is like a mixture of different plant blend that comes from things that are natural to the Great Lakes region and up here in Upper Peninsula. And the really cool part about it is it's a blend. So many families have their own like special recipe. So if you go to many different communities, you'll have all kinds of different stories. But one that I was taught, it's a ceremonial one, and it goes all the way back to prehistoric times and dinosaur age. And the story comes from legends of like a mourning couple and losing family members. And then this recipe was given to assist in those different times. So it's a mixture that was given over here, and it's a reciprocal relationship. So you always give tobacco before you're asking for something in return. But Potawatomi have another plant. So a lot of Potawatomi, they are usually southern. They're over in Kansas also, which has longer growing seasons than what they do up here in the Upper Peninsula. And they have a little bit different stories that I have been taught. Here is one. It's about, it was given a long time ago, and only men could take care of the plant. And it's a really cool explanation of how when you go and travel to different tribal communities, you really need to have understanding of the importance of their teachings and what they were taught and what their belief system is there, because it's a bit different. And this is a tobacco plant, which is used all over now. As our climate changes, tobacco is growing more up in northern Michigan. So there's a lot of people that will use Kinnickinnick. There's a lot of people that will use traditional tobacco that they're personally growing. So keeping it sacred, the importance that we have is it's a very important medicine going all the way back to the core of who we are as Anishinaabe people. And it's used to help promote our physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental growth and connection and balance. It's used as an offering to the Creator to help another person. One time I was explained by an elder, like it's like you have blinders on in your life, and then when you're offering this tobacco, it's like clearing those blinders off and giving you this direct like conversation and communication with Creator on things that you really need. And many teachings, the smoke is burned from this. It doesn't mean smoked all the time either. It could be mean offered in a fire. You could put it in the water. And it's just like a direct connection between yourself and the spiritual realm of asking for help. There's a lot of different things that happened to who we are as Anishinaabe people, and it goes across the nation, as we know. But I just wanted to highlight this slide because it talks about some of the really important pieces. So tribal people were not allowed to practice their religion until 1978 legally. Like they could go to jail and be arrested. And just think of the impact that has. I'm telling you that tobacco is integral to who we are, right down to the core of who we are in our communities. And until 78, we were unable to practice that without potential going to jail. And it's kind of important to pay attention to the dates because then you have the dates of like when commercial tobacco was also presented to our communities and how that really has impacted who we are in our nations. So the Indian Self-Determination Act, 1975, Indian Welfare Act, Religious Freedom Act, that's when I was talking about, 1978. There's so many pieces that are just getting, I think last year was the year that we finally got our apology for the boarding schools. So like there's many things that are just very delayed. And I just want to highlight that because I think a lot of times people think of historical traumas go back to pre our lifetimes. But these dates show the reality is not that. So here's some in historical context. The 80s, boarding schools started. Your grandparents are in the 50s, so they were there, parents 60s, adult children and children. I have friends that attended boarding school. I have aunties and uncles that attended boarding school and had impact in all of these different areas. The removal. So a lot of people have dealt with other things of Indian Relocation Act. They tried to separate different people off the reservations and separate them into larger communities, trying to take away their connection to their culture and their families. Through this, as I'm saying, red man chewing tobacco began targeting American Indian Alaska Natives in 1901. We weren't able to practice our religious freedom till 1978. So it shows the cross connection of how impactful these targeted marketing really impacted our communities. They put the mystique of Indianness with American Indian chief, Native American headdress images in the 50s and even today, velvet, old gold, Kent, and natural American spirit cigarettes. Although, as I'm telling you, tobacco, asema, our sacred traditional tobacco has cultural significance. This commercial tobacco has none. Yet the access is easier for many of our people. A recent investigation found that the e-cigarette jewel targeted at least 8 American Indian tribes with discounts and referral programs pitched in an effort to promote its products. I think this one's really hits home because I know Hannahville Indian community was one of the ones, like that's right here in Michigan. And they had instances where they were really targeting the youth within those populations too. Here's some pictures of some of the commercial tobacco products really highlighting American Indian, Alaskan Native messaging. And a natural American spirit still is the same. I think that's the same logo today as it was back then. So one of the main goals that we have here at ITC and a lot of the programs that we work for our tobacco prevention, our commercial tobacco prevention work is differentiating between our sacred tobacco and commercial tobacco, honoring and respect the use of our sacred tobacco, and really trying to highlight the importance of what that really means to us within our tribal communities. Promoting and fund initiatives around growing sacred tobacco and using it for cultural, ceremonial, and medicinal practices. One of our main goals is to really provide access because through historical trauma, a lot of things have been lost along the way, and we want to bring this back at the forefront and really provide a lot of access to this. educate and inform non-Indigenous allies about the use of sacred tobacco. I think it's really important to all platforms to have an understanding of the histories within our state, within our Anishinaabe Nation, and in our tribal communities to have an understanding of where pieces are lost and the reasons why. Recognizing the need to fund research and public health promotion programs to revitalize our sacred ceremonial tobacco and elevate the impact of these programs on reducing the use of commercial tobacco.
Question for you, Laura. So, based on this slide, you talk about the need to educate and inform, people. And like, I guess my question is our students, whether they are of the Native American communities or not, like, do they just not understand the difference between what is the sacred component of it and the commercial kind? Do they think like, oh, it's okay that I'm using this commercial type of tobacco because
For ceremony?
like, are they not catching that difference? Is that what you're saying? You need to educate them, or like, where is that what, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out like, what is like the major problem that you see that is driving some of those behaviors or concerns?
So yes, that is for sure happening. They are, because you can go into any gas station and there is tobacco there. So they're thinking that tobacco is what our sacred tobacco, that's just as good as our sacred tobacco, but not understanding the histories, the stories behind it, the legends, and the connection that it has to us and the harms of the commercial tobacco. Because even though they are many different ages, it's accessible at all of our ceremonies within Indian country. And so they're just bringing that majority of the time because it's easier to access that. You don't have access to the seeds of tobacco. You have to grow it, or you don't know what the mixture of kinnikinnick is. And so really by highlighting the importance of bringing that back to our communities, just because of the disconnect due to genocide and historical traumas from different things throughout history, that is lost in many families.
And are we seeing that change within generations too? Like, is it, so when I say kids, right, or adolescents, right? But I mean, even their parents, I mean, do we see it still, is that disconnect getting worse, I guess is what I'm asking, as generations?
I don't think it's getting worse right now. I actually feel like we're in a revitalization era
Good.
where it is coming back.
Good.
And through a lot of programming like this. So there's the National Native Network took many years of work, and that was one of the main focuses, is really bringing that across the nation of like, keep our tobacco sacred. And it's still continuing on in many different platforms. I am concerned now with just different legislative views on the importance of really commercial tobacco prevention programming and the cuts that could potentially happen, and hoping that doesn't like really put a stall on the headway we're going with the revitalization of our culture and traditions as it relates to our sacred tobacco. So as we were talking about right from the start, storytelling is our way. And so I wanted to highlight some of our cool stories. So you can go on to Intertribal Council, ITCMI.org. And these are old stories, but I still wanted to highlight them because I really love them. We have a different tribal membership throughout the state that put some videos together. So we have a Valerie quit smoking video. We have a Kimberly quit smoking video, Jocks, and a Christopher. And they all have a little bit different topics of why they quit. And these were created through the National Native Network. And storytelling is really impactful when it comes to meeting the tribal communities and where they're at, and it's meaningful. And so this was one angle that we really highlighted, and we put out a media campaign throughout the state, really highlighting and targeting the zip codes in which our tribal populations live in, so that they can see the videos and relate to them. And then currently we're in the process of working with Robo Cancer Center on the creation of more digital videos that I'm going to share at the end of this presentation. And these ones, we really wanted to understand the beliefs and preferences of the tribes within our state. regarding the cessation materials, trying to increase quit line calls and attempts, really promote the increase of tobacco clinic referrals and increase knowledge about the harms of commercial tobacco use and secondhand smoke. And we wanted to understand what messages would really impact the tribal populations within the state. And so we put some focus groups and surveys out to our tribal populations. And then we created 2 stories from the information. When I share the slide deck, I'll also share the survey results so that people can understand like what exactly was shared. It was just too many slides to add today. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share again because I pulled these videos up on a different platform. The first video that I share is from KBIC. This is Ashley and her son Xander, and they are members of the Kuna Bay Indian community.
I've seen a lot of my family members growing up struggle to quit smoking. A lot of them did successfully quit eventually, but most of the adults in my life smoked while I was growing up. My name is Ashley Sepinen, and I'm a member of the Kuna Bay Indian community.
My thoughts about commercial tobacco and vaping is that it's really bad for your health and that it's pretty bad because you could get like cancer. My name is Xander Sepinen. I'm a part of the Kuna Bay Indian community.
Commercial tobacco affects the community in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of chemicals in commercial tobacco, so it causes a lot of illness. Tobacco cigarettes are very expensive, so our families are choosing cigarettes over maybe bills or food or important things. I see a lot of people using commercial tobacco at public events like our powwow. They're not finding a specific area away from people, so they're affecting all of the people around them with their secondhand smoke in public.
It could affect your lungs. It'd be harder to breathe. You could get lung cancer, and then there's increased chances for like a heart attacks. Your sicknesses can last longer, like your heart rate will increase.
A message of good health for our community is very important because we need to be able to live a long and healthy life and continue to pass down our traditions.
It makes me feel kind of sad when my family members use it because it damages their health and it could ruin their lives.
Traditional tobacco is very sacred. It's a special sacred plant that's hand harvested, and commercial tobacco is full of chemicals and very processed.
Commercial tobacco is like smoking and vaping, but traditional is like offering it.
To me, it's important to offer our tobacco to the Creator because it's like a sacred thank you. It's us thanking the Creator for the things that we're about to get from Him. It makes me feel more connected, and it makes me feel more secure in what I'm doing. Don't start. Don't start using commercial tobacco. It's too hard to quit. It's not worth it.
Don't try vaping because it could damage your health. Even though it's hard, at least try quitting. I think it's important to be healthy.
Commercial tobacco is not a part of who we are as a people. Traditional tobacco is.
So that was one of our PSAs that we just currently finished and is out actually. So as we speak, you might be able to see this one out on the TV and different streaming platforms. Our second one is from Nadawasepi, Huron Band of the Potawatomi, and this is Marisha's story.
The use of commercial tobacco affects everyone around you. It can affect your lungs, it can affect the air we breathe, It's hard to ask for help, especially as a Native people, to put your pride aside and say, I can't do this by myself. Any community you're in, there's someone there that is waiting for you to reach out for that help. It's like talking about these things so that we heal, so that we can help the next 7 generations and beyond.
So those are 2 highlights. I have a longer version of Marisha's story, and I'll attach that also when I'm sharing. I have to bring up my presentation. Sorry, I lost my spot on my slide 1 second.
While you're doing that, are you finding, I guess, is the Intertribal Council finding a good response to like those PSAs and videos to maybe
Yeah,
just
we
kind of spread the word and the messaging about those concerns?
Yeah, I don't have the exact number of impressions to give to you right now, or the impact it's going to have on the quit line, just because they're currently out there right now. But I was excited that I would be able to highlight those today on this video because they were recently finished, and we're really excited about them. The Rogel Cancer Center funding that we received, we did a survey, and like I was saying before, and it was really to meet the needs of what they felt that the tribal population would really, what would impact, what language, what tone. So positive tone, utilizing our culture and traditions, and really like doing intergenerational, like really meeting the needs. They wanted to hear like what kids' view was to impact the adults. They thought that would be a highlight. Language or knowledge keepers within the community. That was Marisha. They really look up to her in her community, and they wanted to hear her voice, and they thought that would be impactful. Downstate, many of them felt that the PSAs and bringing the information to public meetings is the best way to meet the needs. In the Upper Peninsula, it was a little bit different just because we're a lot more rural, and they felt the use of billboards would actually work really well up here, because of the fact that there's not so much noise out on the roads. Like when you see a billboard, you don't see like 500 billboards, you're seeing like one every little while. And so we're in the process of putting out some billboards also that will be in the Upper Peninsula. We're really targeting the Upper Peninsula for our billboard campaign. And so we really focused on utilizing what the tribes in the state of Michigan wanted. And that's what we're highlighting. So we're really proud of the work that came out of those because it all came directly from the communities. Another project that ITC is currently working on is Our Breath is Sacred, a menthol and flavored tobacco product grant. And it's really larger scale policy systems and environmental change work within the communities. We're working with three communities on this, and each one is working on different policy changes and at different levels within their communities. So one is working on signage within their health systems and within their health center locations, really creating information out there within their policies within their health systems, and then extending that out. So that's how they're starting their campaign. Another one is really focused on tribal governmental buildings as a whole, and locations related to like distance between their school systems, and really creating safe space for kids to remain tobacco free. Another one is really focused on, works directly with youth. They're focused on creating 2 things. They're really focused on finding safe disposal ways for vape products. And then another one they're working on is changing how schools are handling if a student gets caught vaping or smoking, and like what the policies and the procedures are going to be for assisting them along the way. So right now, right now down there in their community, it's like immediate getting kicked off sports teams. And we know that's ineffective because those are things that help them. So they're working with committees and organizations to really create change within policies to try to better how that impacts our students. We started a youth coalition 2 years ago, and last year we held Youth Gona. It's a gathering of Native Americans. It's a framework that's used a lot in tribal communities, and it brings people together, and it has 4 themes. So it has belonging, generosity, interconnectedness, and I'm forgetting one. Anyways, there's 4 themes. And so you put that into days worth of facilitation and work. And so we created a youth coalition. And the really big main part of that was to create it across the tribes throughout the state so that they can all have a place to come together, but also for youth to really grow and network with each other so that when they're traveling to potentially a powwow in a different area, they would have people that they already know from this youth coalition, and really focusing on the importance of keeping our sacred tobacco at the forefront and really highlighting the importance of not using commercial tobacco and vape products. We are always promoting the American Indian Commercial Tobacco Quit Line in all of the things that we're doing. And the state of Michigan. And through these programs for our youth, we also created a texting program with the Truth Initiative. And this Sacred Breath, so text Sacred Breath to 88709. This is through the Truth Initiative. Now it is changed over. It's not called the Truth Initiative anymore. It's called the X program, EX program. And at the start, it was only targeted. So if you didn't fall within I believe 16 to 24, it would send you to another program. But now that it's changed over to the X program, it provides services across the board from that age all the way to adults. So even if adults are logging in. And what this really is it gives, so you text Sacred Breath to this, and then it'll send you back prompts and have conversation. And then after that, it'll send you like daily affirmations or daily statements of like really trying to promote the importance of like really highlighting positive things like choose to go for a hike versus vaping, and just different topics. And we created 10 culturally tailored to the state of Michigan and our tribal population statements mixed in with the ones that they had already created to really highlight this and tailor it to meet the needs of our tribal populations. So these are some of the main really busy things that we've been up to at ITC. So if anybody has any questions.
Laura, a question then for you. So we have a lot of people who watch these different webinar series, especially the ones on tobacco, whether it's principals, counselors. I think with this series specifically, sometimes we do get like physical education, health teachers that'll watch. So what is, I guess, what is the main takeaway that you would like those individuals to know, whether they have students maybe from tribal communities or not? What would you like them to know exactly about the program?
About ITC's program?
Yeah.
I think that we'd really like them to know that our focus is really to bring back the focus to who we are as Anishinaabe people and really highlight the importance of the sacredness of our tobacco plant. But at the same time that we're saying that, we really focus on prevention education when it comes to commercial tobacco, like that. It impacts tribal populations at such a high proportion that we really want to make sure that we're getting people proper information to make that change within our state and within the nation.
Excellent. Thank you. I am not seeing any other questions. So thank you so much for taking the time. I learned a ton. So I thought it was really eye-opening for me. So I appreciate your time. Just a reminder, I'll get the slide deck, I guess, from Laura here, and then just give me a few days, and we will email the slide deck out as well as a copy of the recording. And then I think we have one more webinar scheduled on the MASSP side of things next week, and then we have a whole slew of more online webinars scheduled for the new calendar year. So, Laura, thank you, and Grace, thanks so much. Everyone else, take care.